right, so in this video, we're going to go into a deeper dive when presenting your option for the Social Security income protection. So you have three options, option A, option B, option C, three different packages. So we're going to assume a broker is presenting this. A broker is somebody that represents multiple carriers, right? So we got option one, funeral and final expenses are covered. Let's just say we're setting aside $30,000 of coverage with one carrier. We're maxing out their limit of $30,000 for Joe and Mary. Then we got income protection, the SSP, let's just call it Social Security protection. We'll do 3 years each. So that's 36,000 for Mary, Joe. So here we have one carrier. We maxed out that carrier. This carrier only allows $30,000. Since you're a broker, you have another carrier that allows up to $40,000 for final expense. So we got $36,000 on Joe, $36,000 on Mary. Option B, we got funeral, final expense again. And this time we got SSP, 24K. Where are we getting this number from? In the last video, we used the $1,000 loss every single month as the example. So $1,000 is a monthly income that we're trying to, the monthly loss that we're trying to protect, and that would be the monthly income that they're protecting, right? In 1 year, that's 12,000, 1 times 12. In 2 years, it's 24,000. 3 years, it's 36,000. Back to the example, we're gonna do C, funeral final expenses are covered. And again, this is 30,000 of coverage on Joe and on Mary. We got SSP, call it 12. So all you're ultimately doing is here, you're selling $66,000 worth of coverage. You're taking 30K for Joe for the funeral final expenses, 36K of Social Security protection, which is 3 years, $1,000 times 36 months, because there's 36 months in 3 years. We get 36, so 30K plus 36. You're just selling him $66,000 worth of coverage. But instead of saying, hey, I'm here to sell you $66,000 worth of coverage, we use the conceptual selling. We use a little story, we emphasize the urgency, we emotionally influence each spouse, and we don't just throw a number at them. This way, we go through the entire sales process so that we have a higher chance of closing them. Here we have 30K and 24K. We have $54,000 of coverage total. Again, if you're captive and you have a limit, say a threshold of $30,000, $35,000 for your final expense product, there's always different ways you can play with these numbers. You could have 6 months of income protection here in funeral. You could have funeral final expenses. You could have $12,000 of coverage here, which is 1 year's worth of income protection, funeral final expenses on both of them. And then for this package, you could have 24 months and then 6,000 set aside for towards their funeral or towards their cremation. You could play with the numbers and make it make sense however you want. And with repetition, by understanding what products you have, your coverage limits, by you playing around with this and doing your own example on your own time, you'll figure out what to pitch. You might be lost at first because you might be limited on coverage if you're captive, but you can figure it out. There are people that use this presentation every single day. Not everybody, but there are people that are top performers that pitch this all the time. And then you have funeral final expenses here, $12,000. You have 42K that you're selling here because you're taking the 30,000 you're insuring them for. This is per person, by the way. So 42K on him, 42K on her. This is how much coverage you're selling on each party. So ultimately, we're using hypothetical examples. So let's just say the two carriers you had to use here, if you're a broker, one of the policies is, let's just say $196 a month and the other one's $200 a month. Very close to each other. So you have $396 a month total no, hers is going to be cheaper. Say hers is $200 a month. His is $396 a month. Hypothetical numbers, $596 a month total. Now you might be thinking this number is crazy, and I have sold policies exceeding $5,000 of annual life premium that have stayed on the books. And I'll show you why momentarily. Let's just say this one is between both of them $434 a month. And let's just say this one is $336 a month. This is for both of them. Hypothetical numbers here. So you mention it, you say, guys, all right, we have 3 different options we could go with today, depending on if you qualify. I'd love to say this is as easy as an internet service where you call, you tell them, hey, I'm interested, and they say yes. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. There's an underwriting process. So once we lock it in, they can't change it on you, even if you get cancer, God forbid, tomorrow, but this will pay out no matter how, when, or where you die. This is straight whole life coverage. It pays out day one. There's no waiting period if you qualify health-wise. Now, we can try to pull as much teeth as we can if you don't qualify health-wise and try to steer to a different product, but sometimes they could just decline you altogether. You won't qualify for anything. So with that said, we have option A. This is the alpha package of them all. This is the hardest one to qualify for because you're obviously asking for more. What it does is it protects your funeral final expenses. So Joe So it'll set aside $30,000 of inflation protection coverage. This covers your funeral, covers your final expenses, any excess medical debt, so on and so forth. And if there's money left over, and obviously you don't have to allocate it towards your funeral, if that's already taken care of, the money goes back to the family. It also gives $30,000 to Mary, which also protects your funeral final expenses. If there's medical debt that falls back on the family, any kind of debt, you guys can use that money and allocate it for that. Social Security protection, so that $1,000 that we talked about that you're going to lose every month comes in for 3 years straight for on Mary. If she was to pass away, Joe, you get to inherit that every single month for 36 months straight. That means 3 years of income protection. This one is $596 per month, which is a lot less than your fourth option, which I didn't present to you yet, which is $1,000 a month. So here you pay $1,000 a month and you get nothing. Here you're setting aside $596 a month now, and you will inherit that $1,000 a month after one of you passes away. Option B, this is not the alpha and not the least option, it's the better option. It's not the best option, it's the better option. So this is funeral final expenses, still covers $30,000 on each of you. Doesn't change from the alpha package on this part, but on the Social Security protection, it gets you 2 years worth of income protection rather than the 3 years on this side. So for this package, it's $434 a month. So it's cheaper than both these options here. And then we have C, the common sense package. This is the package I typically recommend for people because people like to think things over sometimes. So what I tell them is lock in what you think you can qualify for, which we're hoping to God you can. And then later on, we'll try to upgrade you to what you actually want. So today, it's not about what you guys want. It's rather what you guys need. We need to lock this in and make sure you guys have something in place, some form of protection. That way, once you get approved, they can't take it from you because this is time sensitive. Every day we wait, we risk another illness. We risk another medication. We risk another milligram change. Anything relevant to medical, it could be the slightest thing that changes in your decline forever. It's almost like a felony. It's unfortunate. People start thinking about life insurance when they can't get it. So that's why I always emphasize not asking for too much at first and locking in the cheapest option. Funeral final expenses, both of you get $30,000 each. This is the inflation protection. That's why I highly recommend this, guys. This is what I'm telling the clients, what I'm telling you guys watching the video, because you can always down close from here, which I'll show you how if the client in this example objects. So funeral final expenses, $30,000 inflation protection. As you guys know, time passing every single day. It's not what it was. It's not like nowhere near what it was in the 90s. Things today cost probably sometimes 10 to 50 times more than they did back in the 90s. If you want to talk about homes, probably 50 times more than what they did in the 90s. So Social Security protection, we're setting aside 1 year. I think 1 year is beyond enough. I think it's more than enough to have at least enough time to grieve, to cover the bills, and then to figure out the next move. Because worst case scenario, if there are some things that you didn't really predict would happen once one passes away, I'm telling you right now, once people get insurance and they think they have things figured out and they forget about 16 different expenses that start piling up, and it's really, really stressful. It's devastating to have that happen, especially when you want to grieve and all you want is peace of mind while you're grieving over the loved one that you lost. So at minimum, we have the 1 year of income protection, and this one is $336 a month. I recommend this option once again because you're not asking for too much up front. We're trying to get the bare minimum. This is the common sense package, is what I like to call it. And we lock it in today, and in the future, we can always upgrade as long as your health hasn't changed or anything of that sort. So with that said, which one of these three options makes the most sense for you guys to see if you guys can qualify for it today? And you wait, don't say nothing. There's silence. If you're going to get hit with, yeah, we just need to think this over. Say, yeah, that's no problem at all. So here's how this works, guys. We obviously have been waiting a while now, right? We've been thinking about getting buried for a very long time. The income protection, I get. That's something you found out about today. But the funeral final expenses, you guys been wanting covered. This is something that you guys been thinking about and, been pondering on. So today, what we can do, this is what I said earlier. That's why I recommended this for you guys to think about it and upgrade in the future. Why don't we do this? We don't have the Social Security protection in place. We apply to see if you get approved for the funeral final expenses. And if you do, let's think this over. But at minimum, get in place what you guys absolutely need. Because I'm telling you right now, I can't emphasize it enough. If you do not get this in place today and you go to the hospital, medication changes, anything health-wise happens, and you can't get this, don't be mad at me. So I cannot emphasize how many times I've had clients call me after I left and, they said, yeah, we thought it over and we want it in place. The only time people call me back is if they can't get it anymore. Something happens and they wake up, they're like, I should have listened to him while he was here, or I should have listened to her while she was here, right? I highly, highly suggest we get the funeral final expenses in place. And that right there there, obviously you guys are going to minus 12,000, minus 12,000. It might bring this down to 264, let's just say. That right there is only 264 bucks a month. That's for the both of you. So cheaper than cable, a lot more important than cable, and it's something that you could probably swing. And if this isn't something you can do, we'll do the non-inflation package. So is this something that won't take food off your table, that you'll promise me you'll keep in place for the rest of your life? And I always say that. I don't scare them away from it because this is a lifetime commitment. I don't want to sell them something just for them to cancel it. If they say yes, great, lock it in, solidify it. You sure this 264 is not going to take food off your table? I'm not going to do anything that's going to put you guys in a very, very tight position to have to choose if you got to keep your food on the table or get rid of your insurance bill, right? So this is something that is going to pay out one day. This is something that I would cancel all my entertainment, Netflix, I would go without electricity because I see the urgency of this. One thing I won't do is obviously not eat because that's the only way to survive. So this 264 you guys will make happen no matter what every single month. And they say yes, 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 you solidify, boom, you close it. Now say they said no, this still takes food off the table. You could take this 30,000, trim it in half, 15,000, 15,000. You guys see, we're giving room to down close. A lot of agents, biggest mistake they make, they show them a very small number at first. Like they'll show them $6,000 of coverage per person because they think in their head, oh, I'm just going to show them what it costs to get buried today, which this is not going to bury them, but in their head, they might find a funeral home somewhere in the middle of nowhere that's going to cover them for $6,000 a piece. And they'll tell them, yeah, this is only $63.04 a month, $30 a person. They think just because they show them that right away, guess what? 90% of the time, they're still going to tell you, I want to think about it or I can't afford it. It's just like a natural resistance objection people throw at people just to say something. Sometimes they just don't know what else to say. They want to think it over. They want to weigh out of the situation. Humans naturally will say this no matter what, from my experience. You can show them $30 a month and sometimes they'll still say it. When you start a little higher, you have a lot of room to down close and you try to stay within, you know, I would say 6 to 12% of their budget, their monthly budget. That's how you know they can afford it typically. And yeah, basically that's how you do it. So you show them the 3 options and then you say, hey, you know, depending on how long you wait, say you didn't do this for another 5 years. The next time you decide to do this, maybe 3 years, 5 years, whatever, you know, this package could be, let's call it the common sense package. The common sense package could cost you, you know, $490 or more. Or $500, right? Round it up. So once you lock it in, it never goes up. But the longer you wait, the longer you sit, the longer you ponder about it, the less likely you're going to qualify, or it's going to cost you $500 a month. So it's either going to cost you $500 a month or more, or you're going to decline. This all depends on, you know, your rates, your health, your conditions, so on and so forth. So this is how you present something like this, guys. You play with the numbers. You want to leave room to down close. You want to emphasize urgency today. You never want to assume someone's just going to say yes right away, right? And we always refer back to the $1,000 a month loss. So I can't afford it. Well, you definitely can't afford $1,000 a month. You guys see where I'm going with this? So they have 4 options. This is one of the options. Not doing anything is an option. It's going to cost them more not to do anything than it would cost them to do something. So with that said, I hope this was of value to you guys and stay tuned to the next video.